according to Toastmasters International. As everybody in their life has a mission to achieve their goals, likewise our district also has a mission. Kindly repeat it after me. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Before we proceed with this workshop, let me highlight few guidelines to be followed. As Toastmasters, we don't talk about sex, religion, and politics. So please refrain from discussing these topics. Please put yourself on mute when not speaking. Kindly switch off your cameras if you are stepping out of the meeting. Please note, the virtual backgrounds are being shared in the chat box. I request every one of you to kindly use them. Now, without much of a delay, I would like to hand over this virtual stage to someone who is extremely passionate and dedicated towards his duties and goals. Ladies and gentlemen, with a great round of applause, please welcome our very own electrifying PRM, Toastmaster Avuday Niyagam. Sir, the screen is all yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmasters Sazia. Of course, everyone in this room are electrifying because we are connected through that electricity. And of course, Albert Einstein. So let me just give a small introduction about Madam Sazia, who just opened the session for us. She has been a Toastmaster since September 2020. And last year, she got the second prize in DTAC 2023 for the humorous speech contest. And she's also serving as the Vice President Education for SAP Toastmasters Club. And she's also the Assistant Division Club Growth Director of Division H and a committed member of the District 105 PR. Thank you. Good evening once again, everyone, to all the district leaders, area directors, division directors, and wonderful guests out here, and my dear fellow VPPRs. As we took over this term as the PR, one thing what we had in mind is about imagining beyond the obvious. As they say, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge might be limited, but imagination encircles the world. And with this Imagine Beyond, we had three distinct themes that we wanted to go along, which was promote, engage, and inspire. Recently, many of you would have received the Canva Pro account from the District 105. And this is absolutely our first element of the theme, promote, wherein every one of us will be able to use the best of the facilities that we can get. And this part is called engage, wherein we are going to engage in wonderful learning from the best Distinguished Toastmaster Cajetan Barretto for branding through Canva and Distinguished Toastmaster Muhammad Yasser for branding through PowerPoint. And after we finish this, I'm sure every one of us will be doing our best of the ability and inspiring everyone, each other. Now, let us go into the session directly. To take this session further, a dynamic personality who is a comedian, a TEDx speaker, publisher, writer, theater actress, and she has now recently started her training business in Jordan, Amman. She joined Toastmasters in 2017, and she is now a member of 4 clubs, not in single country, but in Jordan, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Palestine. let us put our hands together to welcome the master of ceremony for today, Toastmaster Khulud Abdullah. It's all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today in our educational workshop, Learn and Create. Distinguished leaders, amazing fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, I'm honored, privileged, and thrilled to be the MC of today's extraordinary, remarkable, much needed workshop, which is initiated by our brilliant PRM team in District 105. Welcome to Learn and Create. What will you learn? You will learn branding. What will you create? You will create stunning posters and flyers, both in Canva and in PowerPoint. At the beginning of each Toastmaster year, our Vice President of Public Relations Officers face this daunting task of having to create posters that will be used as invitations for their club meetings. And they are asked to create perfect posters. And that's why they reached out for us to help them. And here we have professional trainers in our public relations team who came to the rescue. Today, we will have a visually delightful, unforgettable experience where we'll design together, step by step, our next poster, our next picture-perfect poster for our club. But before I introduce the first trainer, I would like to ask you, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat box, because we will be having a Q&A, question and answers portion. Are you ready for our first trainer? Let's dive into the world of branding and creating with our first trainer. Distinguished Toastmaster Cajetan Barretto. He's been a certified trainer, public speaker, behavioral assessor, and a passionate Toastmasters. He works as a group manager in a project management office based in Kuwait. He joined Toastmasters in 2017 and served many leadership roles in the club, in the area, and in the division and district levels. He finished 5 paths since 2017. How many did you finish? And he's now working on his 6th path. He was awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster of the Year in DTAC 2020. So let's all welcome, let's put our hands together to welcome DTM Cajetan Barretto in his session, in his workshop, Branding Basics and How to Apply in Canva. Over to you.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, and especially the District PRM Manager who invited me for this session. I just concluded a similar session for District 124. And there is one thing that immediately attracted my attention when I came into this meeting. First, many of you all have your videos on, and I love it. When I'm training, when I see the videos on, it means whenever I'm speaking something interesting or funny, I can see the smile. And when I see you all yawning, I know I need to do something different. The second thing is I've seen there is a lot of homework done by the team. Amazing virtual backgrounds. I wish I could have used it myself, but I would have had to set up my green screen. Otherwise, I tend to look like a ghost. And it's those virtual backgrounds will make my life easy because you all have already covered some of the aspects that we are talking about branding here, about gradients. I see somebody has a virtual background with all the gradient combinations, somebody with the basic color combination. Very nice. So I'm looking forward to this session today. Let me start my own timer because I don't want to go beyond 45 minutes. This is what has been allocated for me. I will be splitting my session into 3 parts. The first part, I want to focus and have a more of a interactive session with you is on the branding aspects, where I will try to spend around 20 minutes. The next 25 minutes, I will try to translate those branding concepts into Canva. 25 minutes is not enough to do a full training on Canva. Please understand that, but I will try to show you how you can quickly ramp up. And the third part will be the Q&A session. But the other thing that interested me was that this district, especially your PRM manager, has been working very hard to give you all pro account. Wow. And in the previous session, I was teaching using the free account, but in this, I will be showing you the pro account because I believe some of the pro features make life so much easier. Let me switch to my presentation mode. So we are going to create brand compliant designs today with Canva, and I'm glad to be here with you all, District 105. As mentioned, I'm a trainer and I train on multiple things, whether it's on artificial intelligence, Udemy, public speaking, or whether it is on Zoom and how to create. So anything that helps Toastmasters, especially in this day and age where technology has become important, how we can leverage technology to improve our public speaking journey. And to that extent, I had created a Tech for Toastmasters YouTube channel where I post most of my content. Do check it out. As far as the first part is concerned, the branding, I will be focusing on just 4 items. That is the Toastmaster brand elements, the brand portal, the gradients, transparencies, and shapes to make our designs interesting and attractive. Now, when I talk about the brand elements, give me a second. I just want to check something. Okay. So here we want to talk about branding. Why is branding important? So the branding, first of all, is a promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. The word distinctive design is very important because when we create content, one club shouldn't be sending one message and the other club sending a conflicting message. The message should always be consistent. Before I proceed, I'd like to see in the chat, what comes to your mind when you see this image? Any organization, any company? Chat is disabled, I guess. Okay, all right. So, bad burgers. Yeah, so first of all, anywhere in the world you go, when you see this arch is yellow in color, yellow, no other color, you know that you'll get a certain experience. Maybe in the case of Bev, it is bad burgers. But when I go to a different country, it's a safe space for me because I know the quality will be of a certain standard. And there will be certain conveniences there. Restroom will be of a certain standard. So that image, when I see it, conveys to me a certain experience. What about this one? Okay, so this is Nike, the famous shoe company. Good shoes, Ashraf, definitely. especially if you love running like me. This is not a visual element, but it is still a brand element because it conveys and it is brand protected. So there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there is what comes to your mind. Anybody? Yes. Bev, William have stated that this is a brand message from MasterCard. What about this? Where leaders are made. Toastmasters International. TMI. It's either TI, Toastmasters International, or Toastmasters International. TMI is not the correct acronym. Now, when it comes to Toastmasters International, what are the brand elements? Can you tell me what are the elements that comprises of the branding? So what are the visual brand elements that are there in Toastmasters brand kit? Logo is one of them. Logo color is the second. So logo, color, font, Natasha White has listed 3. I'm looking for one more. I'm sure one of you will get it. So we have logo, we have color, we have photos. Oh, Priscilla. Okay. So we have logo as a brand element, and logo can be with tagline, without tagline, but at the end of the day, it's logo. Then we have color, and that colors could be simple colors. It could be gradient colors, but they're colors at the end of the day. We have fonts, just 2 of them that we can use when we want to create our designs. And finally, we have imagery. So these 4 elements are the ones that we need to understand how to use them correctly. Now, when it comes to logo, I'm sure most of you all know the logo. There are different types of logos. There is a logo with a tagline. There is a colored logo. There is a black and white logo. There is a grayscale logo. But at the end of the day, they're all logos, and you can use the one that fits within your design idea. You could use a color one if that looks good. You could use a black and white if that is what will give the right message. You can use any of them. But the important thing I want to highlight to you all is when you are using the logo, the 2 things that I always see being a challenge for most of us is about the space around the logo, the clear space. And this is, I want to focus on that, and the size, how much is the smallest size that you can make the logo. So when you talk about the space around the logo, how is it calculated? So if you look at this image there, that white, the black border, the square is what you should sort of place your logo on so that everything else around it is clear. So that's what we mean by clear space. And you can calculate it, by the way. It's the word Toastmasters International, the top of that word, and international at the bottom of the word. That space should be on the right, on the left, on top and bottom. That much space, right? And so that gives you the clear space. Keep it distinct and unique. The smallest size that you can make the logo is 72 pixels. And any logo element, any design element that you can find on the link that is given there, toastmasters.org, resources, brand portal, design elements, you can use them. If you had access to design elements which are no longer there, it means they are discontinued and you should not be using them. So always go to the link in Toastmasters website, see what are the current elements that you can use and use those elements. So most of you all have a virtual background that already explains these colors. So we have 3 primary colors, and they are cool gray, and it has a code. We have true maroon, and it has its own code. And you have loyal blue, and it has its own code. Sometimes even I forget what these codes are, so I keep a small reference card with me next to my desk with the codes on it. So these are the 3 primary colors. And then we have this happy yellow, which is what we call accent color, sometimes to highlight something. It's not a primary color. You can't have a background of yellow. That's what it means. You can't have a predominantly yellow design, but wherever you want to highlight certain things, you can use the yellow color, either for fonts or for small shapes like that, just to bring some attention to that area. It's accent, right? Black and white are not really brand colors. You won't find them in the manual, but they exist because they are natural colors. What do I mean by natural color? If you wanted to print your material, for example, you would print it on the A4 paper. And what's the color of that paper? It's white, right? You wouldn't want to make the background when you're printing, let's say blue, because you'll waste so much ink. Right? So you would use white as the background when you're designing for print purpose. Similarly, if you had access to only a black and white printer and you want to print something, then you need to use black and white. There's no other colors because that's the output that you're limited to. And so because of this, we have these colors, black and white, that can be used where applicable, even though it's not mentioned as a brand color. There was one color which used to be there and was removed around 2 years back. Do you all remember what color was that? In the chat? Yeah, yes, he remembers because he must have been using it for his designs. Red. Yeah, red was one of the colors that was in the brand palette, but has been removed since last 2 years. So people used to complain, okay, what can I do with only 3 colors? And to satisfy a little more creativity, Toastmasters 2 years ago introduced something called gradients. Gradients is a blend of 2 colors. Okay. So you blend them together to give you a shape. So if you notice, for example, the background of this poster is a blend of 2 maroon colors, a deep maroon and a rich maroon. So it gives you that kind of a aesthetic design for your posters. But it doesn't mean that you can blend any 2 colors. What it means is that if you want to create a blend of blue, then you have to use the loyal blue and blissful blue. Okay, so that's your blend. You cannot blend blue and maroon. So if you want a maroon blend, then you have to use the deep maroon and the rich maroon. If you want the gray gradient, then you use the cool gray and the fair gray. So that's how you create the blend. Okay, coming to fonts. There are only 2 fonts, so it's very easy because sometimes when you start creating designs and we start looking at the fonts that are available, for example, in Canva or in PowerPoint, we can get inundated with hundreds, sometimes thousands of fonts that are available. Which ones look good? You don't really have to think about it because you can only use these 2 fonts. So the main fonts that TI recommends are Gotham and Myriad Pro. But these are paid fonts. We can't afford them. Gotham, for example, costs several $1,000s, I think, and Myriad also is very expensive. There are, of course, free alternatives or clones of these fonts that if you are using a desktop version of, let's say, if you're using PowerPoint, you can download them and use them, but they're not genuine fonts. The genuine fonts, you have to buy them. And that is what Toastmasters International uses when they are creating their content, when they are creating, for example, their magazines, they will use the professional Gotham and professional Myriad Pro fonts. Okay, we can't, as I said, afford them. So what they have done is they have said, if you are using it in your design, and if you have access to Montserrat, use it as an equivalent of Gotham. And if you have access to Sans Pro, use that as an equivalent of Myriad Pro. And both of these are free fonts. They look similar, but not as good as the paid fonts. But we can use them for a design material. And where do we use them? Gotham for your headings and Myriad Pro for your body. So these are the two fonts you can use in your design. There was one font that was also discontinued. I would like to know if anybody remembers what that font was. I used to love it. Pre-D, no. Maybe early, Dinesh Kumar. ITC Lubelin was a font that was discontinued around 2 years ago. And this font actually is what we call a serif font. Do we know what is a serif font? Serif font is like the Times New Roman font. It has accents at the end of each letter, right? So serif fonts are good when you're reading it as a print material. But when you're displaying on a computer display or on a phone or something like that, then the preferred font is without serifs, sans serifs. So all of these fonts that you see, Gotham, Myriad Pro, Montserrat, Sans Pro, they are all called sans serif fonts. They are fonts without serifs. Okay. So since we'll be using Canva, we will stick to Montserrat and we will use Sans Pro. As far as images are concerned, this is where I believe most of our challenges come as a designer. When we want to create content, the first thing that a VPPR will look at is, what's the theme of the meeting? Right? And if it is, let's say, the Toastmaster of the day says, I'm going to talk about traveling around the world. And your design will be about aeroplanes, suitcases, some exotic country. Am I right? Or maybe they say, I'm going to talk about harvest because this is a harvest season. And your poster will be about somebody harvesting something or, food or something like that. And so most of the time when we try to create a communication that is focused on the theme of the meeting, most of the branding issues come into the surface. And I strongly believe that if you want to create communication to bring non-Toastmasters to your club, we should be focusing on what is it that we are offering in our club. And why do people join Toastmasters, by the way? What's the primary reason why someone would come to your club and ask, can I join your club? I would like to see some comments in the chat. Improve communication, better speaking. So essentially, people, when they associate Toastmasters, they associate it with public speaking, even though our tagline is where leaders are made, by the way. People come because they are afraid of speaking in public. They're afraid of giving presentations. They're afraid of how they present to their management. So they want to improve their confidence in public speaking. So when a communication goes to them saying, hey, this club is focused on communication, that's when they'll come to your club to see how can I improve my communication. They don't come because you're talking about harvest. They come because they want to improve their communication. So if we keep our messages consistent on that, then they know that what they're coming for is to improve their communication. The leadership is a byproduct. Most of the time, we are forced into this Toastmaster leadership because, hey, can you become a VPPR? Can you become the club president? And we take up the role of leadership. They don't come to become leaders. They come to improve their public speaking. And leadership is a byproduct of becoming a better public speaker. Because now you're confident, now you can take up leadership roles. And then you climb to the next ladder and so forth. Okay. So if you focus on that, the photographies then should focus on people looking engaged and empowered. I know this might be not very clear to some of you all if you have not a good internet connection, but let me read it. The images should reflect that people, where they are networking, where they're training, where they're giving speeches, that is the type of messages or images that we should depict in our PR material, because that is what your guests are aspiring to become. And that's how you'll attract them. So avoid landscapes, avoid animals, avoid children, avoid food appliances, and especially avoid toast. Because and that it's mentioned also in the brand manual. Don't use toast because it's not related to what we are delivering here. So why do we need trainings like this? So branding is the process of creating a distinct identity. We have 15,000 nearly clubs around the globe. So what is the objective? That all of us should be creating this consistent message to non-Toastmasters. That's what the PR is all about. It is not about making your club look good compared to the others. It is to make your club look the same as the others. It is to become the McDonald's of public speaking, so that when you come, okay, you'll get a bad burger, but everywhere you'll get the same burger, right? That is the whole idea of branding. And why do we have to stick to this few colors and few fonts and few selected images? Because as VPPR, we are not designers. We don't have a degree in art or design. If we were to give a free rein to every club, then every club will create whatever comes to their mind. And then the message will not be consistent. So that's why, since clubs do not have certified designers, the results created by different clubs can be diverse and not exactly brand compliant. So that's why we have to have this consistency, the brand manual, trainings like this, so that we avoid creating messages like this, right? So this is something, by the way, I'm not here to mock this club or something like that. Maybe they didn't know the brand manual. Somebody just told them to create and they created it. But a non-Toastmaster, when he looks at it, what message is he getting? What is he coming to this club for? Okay, it looks fancy, eye-catching, but what am I getting out of it? Or for example, this is a classic case where theme comes into the picture, where you are focused on the theme. Make every drop count. Okay, it's a great theme. It's about environment. It's about saving, looking at our future. But people are not coming, and every meeting of yours is not going to be about this. Correct? Every meeting is going to be about public speaking. So we need to focus on that. You can mention the theme somewhere, but the message should be that if you join a club, you're going to be a great public speaker. This doesn't tell me that. Or for example, here, where we have played around with the logo and made it completely different than what it is supposed to be. So that was my topic on importance of branding, why we need branding, and why we need to stick to this limited 4 elements. And let's see how we can convert those elements in Canva. So let me share my screen. Okay, so Canva is just one of the tools that we can use for designing. Later on, my colleague, my friend will be talking about Microsoft PowerPoint, which is another interesting tool that we can use. Now, since the district has taken a lot of initiative of giving your clubs the pro account, I will adapt myself a little bit to show you some of the pro features that you need to focus on because it makes designing so much easier. So I'm one of the recipients of the Canva Pro for Nonprofit. I had applied for it almost 3 years ago when I was a division director, and it is still there. I'm still using it. And the first thing, if you are using a pro account, is just start using what we call the brand kit. The first thing, you forget about learning about how to create content, learn to create the brand kit. So when you log into your pro account, on the left hand side, you'll find brand kit. And if you are a designer who's, let's say, designing for multiple organizations, you can create multiple brand kits. But since I'm having only one organization that I'm creating this for, which is Toastmasters, you'll find only one kit called Toastmasters brand kit. I can change the name of it, that's okay, but this is the name I have given for it. And when I click on it, I'll find on the left hand side for this brand kit, logos, colors, fonts, photos, graphics. These are not applicable for Toastmasters, but other organizations use it. And icons in Toastmasters. Also, we don't use it, but this is essentially what creates a brand kit for any organization. Okay, so what you can do is you can first come to logos and you can start adding. So what I have done is I went to the Toastmasters website. I downloaded all the logos that are available here. Toastmasters. Went to resources. It's taking some time today. Okay. All right. Okay. Then I went to brand portal and logo and design elements. And one by one, I downloaded, because this is a one-time exercise, I downloaded all these files and my computer, and then I came here to the Canva logos and I uploaded all the logos in one place. And also, by the way, you can define the branding guidelines here. I copied this from the brand manual and I pasted it here. Why is this important? Because you might be sharing this pro account with your colleagues. And so for them to understand how to use the logos, you can mention the elements, mention the brand guidelines here, and then all the logos are uploaded. If you want to upload new logo, click add, upload the logo, and then wherever you have it on your computer, it will come here. Similarly, colors. I have loaded all the color codes here. So these are the primary colors: blue, maroon, silver, and so forth. Then I have created another palette for the gradients. Then I went to fonts and I uploaded using this. I can upload the fonts, or I can define the fonts. You can even upload more fonts from here using the manage upload fonts. So you can upload your own fonts that you found on the web, and you can start using them. As I mentioned to you, Gotham and Myriad Pro have free versions. If you want to use them in the pro version, you can do that. And then I went to the photos and I uploaded all the images from the Toastmasters website. Where did I get them from? They are available here under resources, brand portal, and under leveraging the brand, we have this professional images. So I downloaded all of them by clicking like this, and then downloaded them on my computer. And I came to the brand kit and I uploaded all the photos here. Now what happens if I have a brand kit like this? I'll show you how easy it becomes to create a design. I'll click on create a design, and let's say I'm creating an Instagram post, which is a square design. So I can type Instagram. Which is 180 by 180 square. So I'll choose this. And this is how my design looks like. Now, normally, if you don't have a Pro account, you would have to, go here to each element, text box, and so forth. But see the magic of the brand kit. You can see on the left-hand side something called brand. Right? Now, we have logos. I can scroll to the right like this till I find the right logo that I want. Let's say I want this one. And move it here. Click the back arrow and let's look at the colors. I have two palettes. One is the primary palette and one is the the gradient palette. So if I want to let's say change the background and I click on the background color, notice it automatically shows me only the colors that are from the brand kit. So if I want it like blue, I just click on this and I'm done. Similarly, if I go to the brand kit and I want to look at fonts. So when I click on heading, let's say I want to put a club name, it already comes as Montserrat. I don't have to change the fonts. I just type the name. Let's say Happy Speakers Club or something like that. If I want an image, I click on photos. I can click see all and choose whatever photo you want. So creating of a brand compliant design becomes as easy as ABC because everything is available to you under the brand kit. Okay. If you were not using the brand kit, if you don't have access to the Pro account, let's say for whatever reason, and you wanted to do it the hard way, okay, it is also possible. Only thing is now you have to choose the right options. For example, I want to choose the background color and choose here, and you will not have this, which means you will have to then type manually the color codes one by one. So for example, I want a loyal blue. I have to type 004165 to get that color and then click here. So that extra effort is there, but you can achieve the same results. If I want let's say the logo, and I want to get it from the Toastmasters website, I can also do that. I can go to toastmasters.org, go to resources, brand portal, and logo and design elements. Now, when you're working with Canva, I want to highlight to you the difference between JPG and PNG. And who can tell me in the chat the difference between these two logos, the JPG logo and the PNG logo? Hari Prasad says PNG has transparency. What do I mean by transparency? Let me demonstrate to you. If you were to use the JPG, if I click on this JPG and right click and copy the image, then go to my design and paste it, it comes with the white background in the square, right? And this might not look so good. Let me go back to the PNG version. I'll click on PNG now. Right click, same, copy image, come back to my design in Canva and press Ctrl V. The same logo, but now this doesn't have that background. Which one do you prefer? The one with the background, a white background, or one which is transparent? In Canva, I think the transparent makes a lot of sense, right? So you could do that, right? If you don't have brand kit, you could achieve the same result by copying the PNG file and pasting it into your design. By the way, once you do it, you don't have to again go to the Toastmasters website, because once you bring that image into Canva, you'll find it in the upload section on the left-hand side. So these two images that I just downloaded, they have already come here. So the next poster that I make, I don't have to go to the Toastmaster website. I can just click on it and it will come. Okay. While we are talking about the logo, let me talk about that clear space that I highlighted at the beginning of my presentation. And this is one place where many people kind of don't get it. Like if you put the logo right in the corner here, it means that there is no breathing space on the top and on the left. So you need to move the logo a little bit so that it becomes distinct on its own. You know, find that clear space, and also don't make it too small. Like this is too small, because as you increase the size, you can see the numbers, width and height coming in that black rectangle. So make it so that it is distinct in your design. So this is the logo. Similarly, if you wanted to put text and you didn't have the brand kit, that time you will have to select from here and then select the font by choosing it like this, or typing the font name Montserrat like this and choosing it. And the same applies to images. If you want some images, you will go to the brand portal. You will look at this leveraging the brand, and then there is this professional images. So let's say I want this image. I will click on it and then right click, same, copy image, come to your Canva and press Ctrl V, and then it will appear in your design. So colors, fonts, logo, and images is what makes a Toastmaster communication. Using the right colors, the right font, the right images, and the logo. That's all there is to it. And it's all about how you mix and match. One of the things that can make your design interesting is the use of shapes. So on the left-hand side, you have something called elements, and we have something called shapes. You can click on see all and use any of these shapes to bring some kind of design into your flyer. So for example, I want a triangle, right? So you can bring in a triangle shape. Make sure it is a color that is brand compliant. Let's say make it silver. You can rotate it. It will show you the angle, in this case 90 degrees. You can play around with it. You can make it big or small. And using shapes, you can add some interest in your design. If you want to make a copy, right click and say copy, and then right click and paste, and maybe change this to a different color, like yellow, for example. And use this shapes to sort of enhance, write certain content in that place. So the eye is directed towards that shape. So maybe the date and time could be put there in that shape, right? Or the Zoom ID or whatever you want to highlight. So it comes into that shape. And the other thing I want to highlight is when you talk about design and there is content that you want to read, it's very important. Like, let's say I want to put a text box here. And so let's say this is my club name, Happy Speakers. And here I want to put, let's say, club number 2256. The difference between these two things is here we have what we call contrast, because we have white, which is a light color, on a dark background. But in this case, we have a dark color, which is black, on a dark background, and it's very difficult to read. Right? So if I wanted to keep this blue background, but change this into this font to one of the light colors, what, according to you, from the brand palette, are the light colors? What color could I use here? Which is, so yellow is a light color. Anything else? Silver is also a light color. So silver, yellow, and white are the light colors, while blue, maroon, and black are the dark colors. So background dark, foreground light, or background light, then the foreground should be dark. That's how you should think about it. Okay, so I could make this into yellow and it would have the right contrast. Okay, so that is how we use the elements of Toastmaster brand kit, either through the brand kit that is available in the Pro account, makes life very easy, or if you don't have access to the Pro account, you can still do it, but it takes a little more time because you have to remember all the color codes. You have to bring the images every time you need them, and fonts you have to change every time you need them, and so forth. But the end result would be still the same. Okay, at this stage, let me stop the sharing. And I would like to ask our Master of Ceremonies if there are any interesting questions at this stage.
Toastmaster Naresh will be handling the question and answer section. So,
Okay, fine.
over to you.
Thank you, Cajetan DTM. Thanks for this wonderful session. And on behalf of all the members, I'd like to thank you for such a short and crisp training that you have provided. Now, here comes the interesting part. It's about answering the questions from the members. So let me just scan through the questions that we have received so far. Well, we have a question from one of the member asking, how did you copy the logos into the Canva? You showed us the brand palettes, you showed us a lot of logos, but then how did you even bring it to the Canva? That was the question.
Okay. Sure. Let me share it and quickly show it to you in 1 minute because proof is in the pudding. So here I am in Canva. Okay. As I mentioned to you, if you want to bring your logo directly into Canva, and the logo is available in Toastmasters website. So if you go to toastmasters.org, if you go to resources, and if you go to brand portal, logo and design elements, you can choose any of the logo that you're interested in. You can click on and see which one you want to use, the color one, the grayscale one, the white one. And let's say I want the grayscale one. And as I said in Canva, always go for the PNG version. So I click on PNG. And all I'm doing here is I'm clicking anywhere on the logo and I'm right clicking with my mouse. Can you see this menu that pops up? I hope you can. It says open image, save image, copy image. So I'm selecting copy image. That's it, right? Then I'm coming back to my Canva tab, which is here. And I'm pressing Control V, Control and V, and that brings the logo into my design. Control V will bring the design into your Canva. And then you play around with it with your mouse, move it around, and you're done.
Thank you, DTM. We have started to receive some interesting queries. The next question is about how do we fit the picture inside any shape like a circle?
Good question. I should have covered it, but Q&A is good enough for me to do that. So Canva, I don't know how to, you will have to repeat the same question if you want to do it in Microsoft PowerPoint, but for Canva, in the left-hand side, we have something called elements. And elements that you want are something called frames. So Canva has something called frames. Now, where are the frames? You will have to just click on the search element and type frames. And you'll get all these different frames that are built in Canva. Okay, so let me choose, let's say, this frame, which is like a computer screen. So this part where it shows the middle area, that's where the picture can fit in. So a frame is nothing but a placeholder for any images. So now if I wanted to place this picture, for example, this one inside that frame, I just move it like this and it goes inside that frame. All right. If I want to remove it, just click on the delete key from your keyboard and it will go off. If you want to undo something, you can do that. So I hope that is clear. This is now a frame. You can use any type of frame. Let's say I have another frame here, or you have a circle frame like this. So these are all frames. If you take any image, let's say I click on uploads and let's look at some picture. Let's say I want this photo to be in the circle frame of this person. I click this photo, then I can move it till I take the mouse in the middle of the frame and it comes in here. And then, by the way, I can do some editing, like I can click on this edit photo. I can crop it so that I can move it around a bit, maybe like this, something like that. This is something you can do with, after you place it in the frame, you can play around with it using that edit photo option. So I hope that explains how we can use frames in Canva to fit an image into any shape that we want. But the shape has to be provided by Canva, one of those frames.
Thank you, DTM. Next question would be, just give me a minute. Okay, I'm not sure if you can accommodate this, but then there's a query on, can we get a quick demo on making a beautiful flyer of club meeting? I believe that's what you did during this session. Well, I just like to answer.
It was not beautiful, but I was just showing you the process. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. All of you should now use those tools, use the concept that have been explained and stick within those framework. What can you do? And you can do a lot of interesting things.
Okay. We move on to the next question. Are we totally not allowed to add pictures of people or animals or scenery or photos of Toastmaster members in the flyer?
Okay, so the brand guidelines are very clear. We want to bring people in because remember, why are we creating the PR material? Let me go back to the beginning. Why are we creating this content? We want to not attract existing Toastmasters. We want to attract non-Toastmasters. We want to tell them that if you want to improve your public speaking skills, this is the club, right? So according to the let's say all the experience that we have gained over the last almost 100 years, it tells us that if you project yourself as confident in a networked environment where you have clubs and all your members are meeting, and you show that this is what you're going to get, it's then the experience says that that works. So that's why this guidelines exist. Do not use animals, do not use children, do not use sceneries, do not use, because they are not related to what we are trying to achieve. In my opinion, the best photos that you can use are of your club meetings, if you are meeting physically, of your members, maybe share, their photos, their portraits. And if not, use the Toastmaster free photos. Or if you have access to, let's say, copyright over certain photos, maybe you pay for them, or you go to a website that gives you free, like pexels.com, for example. You can download photos as long as they project that same thing, the meeting or somebody speaking confidently. Those are the photos we should use. Are we forbidden to use? There is nothing called forbidden. Nobody is going to come with a fine or a ticket for you saying, hey, you are non-brand compliant. We are only there to serve you, to help you achieve your objectives. And we believe that sticking to those guidelines will help you to achieve those objectives. If not, the district leaders will help you.
Okay. Are we allowed, next question is, are we allowed to use emojis and graphics in the flyers?
Strictly speaking, no. But if it is a small item, that doesn't deflect from the message, the core message, you would probably get away with it. And how do we get away with it? By the way, create the design, okay, and you add elements that you think are not brand compliant, okay, but you are confident that this is a good design. Just write to send that design to brand@toastmasters.org, and in many cases they do approve them. They say it is fine, even though the brand manual says you cannot use emoji, but in this context the designer has done a good job, I'll allow it. It's an exception, and they do give it. Don't hesitate to write to brand@toastmasters.org, by the way. Though they take 4 to 5 days, they do give you the right feedback. So always feel free to reach out with your design to the branding team.
The next question is, how can I remove background of a photo in Canva?
There are two ways. If you're using a pro version, it's a one-click job, and let me show that to you. So let me remove all these things. And this is a classic example of this photo that I have here. It has a background, and I want it without this background. It could be even more complicated background. It's as simple as edit photo and BG remover, and the background will be gone in an instant. This is for the free version. If you don't have access to the free account, you could achieve the same thing. Again, it takes extra steps. All you have to do is you have to go to a website called remove.bg and then upload the image, whatever image you have, and then it will remove it like same way what Canva did, and then you download it as a PNG. Remember, PNG has transparency, right? And then upload that into Canva. So it's multiple steps, and because it's free, so you have to first of all go to the website, upload the image, then download the image, then upload it into Canva, and then you're done. But it is possible.
Thank you for that. I'll just move on to the next question, which is going to be, are we allowed to add some effects to the text, like shadow or highlighting a text? Are we allowed to do that?
One designer gave a very interesting response to that. It is not mentioned anywhere in the manual, so we just close our eyes, apply some effects as long as they're not too garish, and we just assume it is brand compliant. And I subscribe to that view. As long as the effect is subtle, like you have added shadow, or maybe you used some kind of hollow effect or something like that. As long as it's the same font and you're not really trying to be too fancy about it, it's subtle, you can go about it. If you want to go overboard, then write to brand@toastmasters.org and get it approved.
Okay, we have an interesting question here. In this session, we have been told that we need not create a flyer reflecting the theme. So the question goes like this: not using pictures reflecting the theme, always using the pictures of public speaking might not attract guests who need to know more about a certain theme. So how do we strike a balance? Should we go strictly as in public speaking project Toastmasters in public speaking arena, or are we strictly not to do about the theme?
So there are certain instances where you could make a theme in a way. Again, if you want to go that route, my only response is create the design, put your theme in, and justify that you truly believe that will attract non-Toastmasters, and get it approved from brand@toastmasters.org. So the truth is always there, and it is not like they will reject it. They look at it, what is the message, and they approve it. But if you ask me, is it brand compliant? I'll say no. But will I allow it? I cannot, because I am not an authority on it. But the brand team, they are authority, they can approve it. And I asked the same question, or I posed the same question to the clubs at the beginning of my session. What are we trying to do? If you're saying you're attracting the guest because of the theme, that theme is only for that one meeting, right? Then they will think, okay, I want the same thing. Like I want the, let's say, environment conservation. I came because I am passionate about it, but only for this meeting. Can you make it for the next meeting? But it's not going to be, right? Because the next meeting is a different thing. But the next meeting and the following meeting will always be about public speaking and leadership. And so that's common to all clubs, to all meetings. That is a consistent message. That is where I stand. Beyond that, it's brand@toastmasters.org. I'm done with 1 hour, I think. So if maybe I can take one last question.
Okay, I'll just have this last question. Can we use the templates which are already available in Canva?
You can use them, but you'll spend a lot of time trying to make them compliant, because those templates don't have any Toastmaster branding, right? So you can use them, but then you'll have to start changing the colors of each and every element that is there. And that might be more time consuming than time saving. Toastmasters has published a list of interesting templates, by the way, that you could use. I don't know if anybody can post that link of that. On Toastmasters website, there's something called Canva templates. And if you click on that, it will directly take you to Canva and open that template, and you can just start adding your text and creating the content. So, and I know another district did some very interesting templates also. And in the Toastmaster, in the WhatsApp group that I have all those links to those templates, ready to use templates. And I would like to answer Rahim about non-English languages. I have no authority on it. What I would suggest is you select 2 fonts that you think are good, and then get them approved for that language from brand@toastmasters.org. They just look at the content, see that it looks interesting, and that it is non-sans serif, for example, maybe the font, and they'll say, okay, proceed, and these are your fonts for your language. I don't know for each language whether they have already approved anything, but it is definitely not there in the brand manual.
Okay. In fact, I was about to post you one last question about the non-English languages, which you have taken it already. So that brings us towards the end of the Q&A session. I believe most of the important questions have been addressed. Thank you so much, DTM. And I'd like to hand it over to the MC of today's session.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for such an amazing, informative education session, DTM Cajetan. We all were taking notes. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Naresh, Toastmaster Naresh, for arranging the question and answers section. And now we'd like to present you with a certificate of appreciation, just a little token for as a thank you for your time and for this amazing workshop. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. Now, I'd like to ask everyone who is attending today to turn on your cameras, your videos for a group photo to take together. So can we arrange that, please? Okay, I see so many smiling faces, which shows that we all enjoyed the education session, didn't we? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Thank you for our trainer. And let's take a photo, a group photo. Okay, with our thumbs up, something for yes.
Yes.
No, I can't take the photo with my thumbs up.
Toastmaster Ali is doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us for this wonderful education session. We were taking notes. And now I'd like to thank our district dignitaries who were present with us. Thank you. This means a lot for us to be with us.